So, Rebecca, would you be able to help? What? Get on my YouTube and see if you can get on and find my broadcast. Okay, guys, I have no idea if any of you can be on this, but if you're on that channel, I would think that it's on the Patrick McCormick broadcast. And I'm not going to apologize for the technology because it's just designed to be stupid. And so, let's see, it's here. Okay, good. So it looks like it's going to work. Um, I used to be a lot more upset at this. All right. So, guys, is everything working? And Rebecca, how did you get on? Just go to Patrick McCormick. Oh, so they just go to Patrick McCormick on YouTube. Okay, good. Rebecca went to Patrick McCormick on YouTube, and I should be there. Anyway, life is good. Let's start this thing, shall we? So, guys, thank you so much for being here on this May 12th, 2018 broadcast of the Cartoon Experience. One thing that you can pretty much guarantee is that there's always these unexpected things going on, isn't it? And so, for those of you on the phone call, I guess just go to the Patrick McCormick YouTube channel, and I probably am streaming. So I hope that everything's good. We got a better signal here than in the camper house thing, and so I want to thank you guys for showing up, like whatever that means, to this version. And this is where we are actually going to have the mirror itself, which means pulling the masks of illusion off of all those different identities that we've had to be but are no longer required, so that we can be our greatest self. With some very interesting other energies and things going on right now. You'll hear probably several cars going by and stuff because we're in the middle of a parking lot at the Hobby Lobby and be it Bells or whatever. And so, and this will be backwards. So the words are probably kind of backwards, you know. So that's, um, and so the camera, whatever technology, oh, we've got $1 billion invested in this technology, and we can't have a camera be smart enough as we reverse it on your smartphone to realize that it shouldn't be backwards. Hey, somebody can create an app and probably get some good money out of it, and make all our lives non-reversed. We'll see you guys later. I'm gonna have Cartron come through. We're gonna get right into this. This is good. And so, um, Rebecca will be on now and then. Say hi, because you guys are showing up. Oh my god. So let's do Cartron. I can show you the other side. This is like, yay. Taco Bell, yay. And then we go, yay, over here. I'll see you guys later. We didn't have time to get back to the place because we were out taking care of stuff, helping people's lives improve. Hello, guys. How are you doing? You can respond on the chat. This is like a hot summer night with hot brothers and other people who get bored in life and do things and make lives interesting or at least a little more exciting. Because imagine being a thirder and not having the awareness of what's going on, but you're feeling something and cannot explain it. And you get all this antsiness, and you get all this unsettlement, and you get all this other stuff that seems disturbed. And there's nobody there to tell you what to do because all your friends basically are stoners or drinking or trying to go out and do things and they don't have the clarity. It's this thing that in this world is not so available as you probably have found out often when you don't have the information that goes with the energy. Well, that is about ready to change. This is all information. The only lights here are the parking lot lights. Could you please let us know how the lighting is? Because we don't have any effects of anything. It's just turn on the cameras and do this. Because Patrick is looking at getting it that simple where you just boom, boom, boom. And so he cannot see because he turned off the hotspot so that the YouTube could be less confused. All right, so good. That means that natural lighting, such as a parking lot with LED lighting and stuff, is good enough, and it seems like the sound is good. And so let us proceed with this process. Elga said something, and it was in response kind of to what Rebecca, actually what Patrick had realized, and Rebecca may be listening in this moment. And that was, well, she didn't have anything to do with it, but Patrick watched this being and he noticed that we are kind of wiggly and that we are almost like very expressive and physical because we are in the body and we are using it as part of our languaging, our linguistics. So corporeal movement, the kinetic movement of the body is part of our expression. And so Patrick said, Cartron, Sermon, all these other channels, they're not bouncing all over the cosmos when they're talking. So Cartron, could you be a little more still? And Elga goes, no, Cartron needs to move. And so we have a saying now. Patrick wrote it, and it's like, release the Cartron. It's like, release the Kraken. But it's like, okay, get the Cartron. You just go and you wiggle as much as you want, Cartron, dude. And so Patrick found that very humorous. Something else while the newsletter was being made. And so it was very interesting. And so it's going to go in the newsletter because tomorrow there'll be a Mother's Day broadcast and Rebecca will most likely be on it. We are broadcasting from the trunk of the car. The devices are all sitting on this in a big empty parking lot. And so it was so interesting. Patrick was ordering a bagel and then he got the buzzer to go off at Panera and he went up. And the lady said, oh God, I wanted to tell you in person. Your bagel's not ready. And Patrick's like, okay, that's fine. And she said, I dropped it. And oh my God, I felt so bad. And Patrick's like, okay. It's like, wow, just really getting into, making a bagel. And so she goes, I just needed to tell you in person. And Patrick's like, wow, I've never seen anyone more in a baked good before. Or maybe a souffle that collapsed or something. But it was just so interesting because he's like, okay. So he's going to write about it. And there was this whole thing that went on because it was the only cranberry orange bagel that was available, cranberry walnut. And so she felt so bad. And Patrick was like, oh my God, they really, really get into their work and take it seriously. And it was like, okay. And he didn't want to disturb that moment because it was so precious. He's like, oh my God, this is so funny. One guy almost wanted to cover for her. It's like, I was going to take the blame. And Patrick's like, oh, these guys, they really, okay, that's cool. It's like, oh God, this is almost like a political conspiracy over a dropped bagel that they couldn't deliver to a customer. And he's like, yes, that is what the universe is doing right now, is dropping bagels left and right, is it not? In fact, in watching the astrological report, this thing may be backwards, so maybe we can do it forwards, but it will be backwards. And so this, um, maybe we can. How are we? Anyway, this will be a backwards diagram, and it will talk to you about what's happening with the energy right now. So perhaps it can be seen through the lighting. Um, Probably not. No, it cannot. So this will be reversed. And so this diagram here is explaining what's going on with all the energy. Okay, so this is for dyslexics, professional schizophrenia. All right, so this is the energy that's going on right now. There's a greater power and authority that's over you. And so there's also this pressure to be moved forward and motivated. And so you got this energy, and this is you, the us, right? And at the same time, you have relationships and intimacy, and that's kind of like wanting to anchor you into places. And at the same time, you want to break free. So you have five major influences going on. How could you then find your balance, deal with all this stuff at once, stay in your center point, and find your own truth? So this is what's going on right now on you guys. So we have a question: why are you so sane? Because most beings don't come here because things like that are too intense. It's like you have authority that you cannot control. And so it's like, you will do this. This is how you will be. We will judge you. We will tell you what to do. It's like all old paradigm stuff. And this system of the old society and community and government and economics and everything else is designed to control you and tell you what not to do. You can't do this, you got to do this, and we're going to put in 60 million codes, regulations, and statutes to replace the true laws so that we can then control you as best as we can. And then we're going to also make sure that everything that purports to be what it says it is will not be there. So, except actually, if you say the words health industry, oh, it's an industry, all right. But it's not really there to promote your health, is it? It's there to peddle the pharmaceuticals and get you hooked on things and stuff like that. And so it is these influences that you guys have to deal with on a daily basis. It's like, are you kidding us? So as light workers, you guys get the double whammy, right? And it's like, oh God, this is so bad. This is just wrong. Period. It's like this. How can this be? We will stop this audacity now. It is remembered to do. And so, how can you handle this modicum of stuff? Well, 2 days ago, during the valley of the ninth wave, where the unified consciousness was most relaxed and it was furthest away from that unified field that's doing this, but the pressure was taken off and we decided to use it as a grounding point. Well, now it's starting to go up. And so what we're doing, that's what we did, was we're basically, that is an ascension point for the thirders, is when the ninth wave is at its lowest. When it's at its highest, it is something for the grounding of the light. Patrick was trying to figure out this backwards perception, but the spirit and the physical would be treated opposite, would it not? If you're dealing with cosmic sine waves of energy and pulsations and fields and radiations and particles and waves. And so you would then do the opposite to the respective things. The physical would have an ascendant at the same time the light gets grounded. And the light would have an ascended at the same time that the physical gets grounded. He's still working on figuring that out. So we are going to facilitate your process. By the way, this is where, as Patrick was realizing today, um, to put it nicely, the feminine gets to call the masculine all of its shit because it wants to make sure that the masculine's staying on course and it's in line and doing what its due does, because the feminine is also wanting to be able to make itself most open and available, but it can't do that if the masculine is not doing its job of being there and providing and all of that. So the demands also of the masculine feminine, even within yourself, can be quite harrowing, can it not? So what a perfect time to release all of these restrictions, these hindrances, these blockages, these resistances, so that you can be the most available for this process. It's like everybody saying, oh my God, I'm going somewhere quickly, I must put on the brakes. But what if you didn't put on the brakes, but did the opposite and made yourself completely open? You didn't hit the gas pedal. What you did, just allow yourself to flow at the rate that the cosmos does it. Now, you guys have every right to possibly not. Um, okay, we're going to read this one. Tell about Uranus. Oh, Uranus. It's interesting. It's Uranus. When you split your Uranus, um, oh yes. In fact, next week this will be special. A 7-year cycle of really intense energy. So all this big changes are going on, and that will be starting next week, and it will last for 7 years. So 2025 is when that's going to let off, but it's all about transformation. It's Taurus and something, and so it's like, oh boy, if you guys haven't had enough intense amplification for the major transformation, it's going to amp up. That's why the still points are so important. So, yes, we will get into this. In fact, next week's broadcast series will be about that for the thing, what we do. So we are going to mitigate this with this energy that is going to continue growing in intensity, but you get to literally be available to be the divine vessels. So the payment of measure. Tomorrow is Mother's Day, and so the feminine gets to really call the masculine on stuff. But isn't that interesting that tomorrow is Mother's Day during this astrological intensity where the feminine is really amplifying itself upon the masculine to help straighten it up, because it is about also clearing out the 8,500 years of imbalanced patriarchy. You guys are not in a gentle part of the crucible right now. So that's why it's important to have that connection to the cosmic uh, clarity, the consciousness, and all of that. And so let's get these masks off, shall we? And we're going to be the masks of many lives. And this is where you guys get to remove all those identities that you had to be, but were not in your highest nature. Now, are you guys, is the sound and the video signal good and not cutting out this time? Could you please respond on the chat? Archangel Michael, please sound the clarion call as we open the portal to the Grand Hall of the Archangels here in this parking lot in Zephyr Hills, Florida. Oh, yes, little do they know. Also, we are going to have Saint Germain open the gateway to the Temple of Ascension Flame. Now, this is a very deep purple. It's Saint Germain's hangout, right? It's the deep purple place. And this is a temple made of violet flame, and it's very intense. But let's bring this in, shall we? Because it's time to let all of this just be taken off. Now, it's not about something if you've got a big resistance. It's like, oh my God, I can't move this. It's stuck. And oh my God, if Carter's going to give me all this energy and I've got this stuck part that's going to hurt because it's not going to move. It's okay because we're going to be adding some systems that will allow you to easily not have to be connected with. We didn't even say let go, did we? We didn't say, oh, you can't hold on, you got to let it go, you got to get rid of it. This is a natural process. It's kind of an on autopilot. And it's all part of our friendly service. Thank you for flying our Cartron. And so let's really make this as gentle as possible, but effective. Sounds like a drug commercial. Gentle yet effective. You too won't feel a thing as we rip apart your karma and examine who you are. Oh, that's special. Pretty soon we'll all be starting our own Heaven Bikers gang and get a bunch of Harleys and terrorize Earth. Yes, the light is here. Roar, Bikers of God. And so, oh no, the light really is the strongest thing. The shadow, it really is not as intelligent. And oh my God, it's a good thing that they are much gentler to us than we were to them. If everything was put and allowed to express equally to those things that it had influences of, such as this all of this intense energy upon you. If you treated the thing the same, if the earth treated humanity the same way that humanity treats the earth, then basically you might as well put in a different race to manage it as a steward, because humanity would not survive a planet that is giving back the equal amount of that stuff. Now, this is not all humanity's doing, although it is. Here we will explain. Humanity as a vessel of stewardship was utilized by forces through nefarious and precarious manipulation, deception, and other things to become the vessel of the greatest level of manipulation. As such, it became this what is the word? This unwary vessel, vehicle, to do the very thing that they were not supposed to be doing, which is harming the planet. It became the vessel of extraction and life force taking and domination and control and manipulation and all of that. When you take that to its nth degree, you have the greatest, darkest evil. And it was these forces that then used humanity and made sure they were as unwary as possible so that they wouldn't even know. Because do you think the human race would volunteer and consent to this if it knew that it was there to create the greatest harm to the very planet? Because truly humans are designed with the God aspect as being gentle, beautiful souls that are there and they want to do the right thing. There's all these other programs and paradigms and other imprints and all this negative thinking and systems and structures like society and government that is programmed by rewarding ineptitude, dishonor, and things like that. That's another force amidst all of this, right? The masculine, feminine, and then you got the old imprints of the ancient ways for the last 12,000 years. Hey, sucks to be you. So this is professional schizophrenia. Don't try this at home if you are in schizophrenia school. So let's be the gentle light. Let's allow ourselves, that part of yourselves, to have the masculine come to its place of soft balance. Yet be the strongest force, because would not the masculine or the male part of the light be the strongest yet most gentle and stable, the most steadfast, frequency, and presence in the world because it is the greatest steward, because the masculine in its true divine state is the divine supporter of its divine feminine. So, as such, it is a steward of the whole process of the evolution. Your true natures being divine isn't about you needing to have an issue or a problem or whatever. You guys were doing this because you can. You are doing this because you can facilitate, you can make a difference. Patrick helped Hawaii for 20 years and counting because he could. It wasn't about getting paid because he didn't. And it was like, okay, well, if you can make a difference in better people's lives, would you do it? So it is that reconsideration of oneself. And it's not about this, oh my God, oh, I'm not going to make the money and all that stuff. That is so earth based. That this system, oh, if you don't pay your bills, you're going to be bankrupt, you're going to lose, you're going to foreclose and all of that. We're going to scare you, boogeymen of debt. There are ways to change all of that and to take this. And ironically, it is a predatory entity that is designed to basically help the prey energy to evolve by having all this pressure and all of this over upon you will do this, rah, rah, rah. So then it forces you, doesn't it, to say, oh, blankety blank, I better get my act together. Oh, I got to be strong. It's time to grow up. I got to get my big shoes on and all that stuff. So this can be really intense. And as this crucible of evolution of an individualization occurs, you as light workers are getting this practical divinity component, this quotient of realism in the third dimension that was the missing piece. Does that make sense? So let's do this. Let's get rid of all of these things. Now, we're not saying that what you've been is not good. It has such an important function, right? Next week is karma. We're going to create this karmic payment program that will allow everything to be responsible for its own making. So that you guys don't have to take on this extra burden, right? This extra disproportionate, not imbalanced, equitable arrangement where your covenant causes you to take on the extra work because you can. It is that unaccountability on the soul level that also is no longer necessary nor appropriate. Isn't that right? Because if you bring in true accountability into a system like this, fraud is over, ineptitude, dishonor, everything respects everything, and everything can just sit down and calm down and sit in its chair and take a breather and realize none of it is all worth getting worked up about. Because everybody's taking things so personal. It's like, oh my God, oh. I was like, did you like that little charade that Trump and the North Korean president did? Oh, yes, Trump's an idiot. Oh, we're going to bomb. You do that again. And they're like, gosh, it's a good thing they couldn't pee across the oceans. So then all of a sudden they're all kissing and making up. Oh, wow, look, you, he's so good. We got to have some good PR for Trump because he's not doing so well in the polls. And he's his own worst enemy. But then again, wasn't he designed to create the system busting of consciousness and stuff like that? So it's all doing well. Patrick realizes that the people that got him elected are actually the comedy news hosts like Stephen Colbert, and they needed material, so they're the ones that got Trump elected. That's the theory that he's working on. It's a grand conspiracy, but now look at how much endless material they have. And so it was all this conspiracy. North Korea wanted to kiss South Korea, and they all, oh, let's be buddy buddy. We're gonna hold hands and walk to the lunchroom. And it was like, oh God, you're so good. Thank you, stupid president. How dare you? Yes, that's good. Okay, we'll show you. We're gonna join forces. It's like, nobody home, but everybody's watching. So let's do this, shall we? Let's get you guys out of this rhetoric. Now, we are not saying that Mr. Trump is this big, thick thing and all of that. It is a vessel of collective expression. All of these things are representing and expressing and reflecting the different capacities that were not addressed otherwise. And so the universe is always very polite, isn't it? It is always a whisper. And if you cannot listen to the whisper, then it becomes a little louder, and then a normal tone, and then a little louder, and it starts shouting, and then eventually a whisper turns into a car accident. Or if you all this other stuff, imagine what the managers of the evolution of humanity have to deal with when they're seeing that it's too thick and they're not listening, and we got to keep them on schedule. Okay, let's bring this big thing in, but we can't blow up the planet. Wouldn't want their job. But they are working on the evolution, the final moments in the strokes, final strokes on the canvas of this polarity reality of humanity as a an incubus, a concubine, crucible of the evolution of humanity, of these souls that needed rehabbing. Well, anyway, that's all completing as well. So your jobs as light workers, as guardians, as illuminators, as way showers, as point holders, and all of that is changing also. So let's just get on with this. Archangel Michael, please open the gateway to the other side of the Grand Hall of the Archangels. We are also going to be asking the causal board to show up. Let us now call upon your current life spirit guide council, everyone. We're activating your God gate, your pillars of transformation, and we're actually putting in Saint Germain's violet flame in your still points. So we're not even having you breathe to the full breath of soul. Where you're going, you won't need no stinking badges. Okay. Now we are going to bring in karmic board. We're going to ask them to not be in their council, but we're going to ask them to attend and be a part of this grand enclave, because this will be to prepare for next week when we bring in the payment program. This is the payment of due. And so everything's good. Yes, as a pony puppet. Yes, he is a pony puppet. Okay. Ellie Gaskins, that's interesting. Yes, he's a pony puppet. Come here, pony puppet. It's unique. It's like that bagel. The lady really mourned the fact that the only cranberry walnut bagel, she dropped it. Now she couldn't deliver, and it looked bad on Panera. And so now that cranberry walnut bagel will be always in our hearts. All right, so we are going to open up the crystal matrix grid, the one that we created around the outer atmosphere. If you want to keep up with this, just imagine this and see us do this from your arena, from your seat. We are now on the count of three going to be standing above your God gates. 1, 2, 3. So everyone stand there and see yourself in a grand enclave. Now also, you are also in above your own God gate wherever you are on the planet or mothership or whatever, because we know you guys are watching too. Sneaking in a cartoon show. Busted. We can feel it. Ashton, what are you doing? You better subscribe. And so, yes, you're coming into the good show. If you're an adept of dissension, we will show you how. Where do we take you now? 2 days ago, for those of you who were on this, and everybody basically was, we had you breathe the breath of God from your higher self fusion. So we're going to ask your higher self to come together, and we're picking up where this left off, like we always do. And so breathe in through the lungs of the higher self, merging. By the way, we have to give you as much information as possible so you can really perceive it. As we merge you with your higher selves, your perfected selves start coming into your physicality. So your bodies, your earth bodies get the benefit of having the perfected higher self. It's so simple, but necessary to also mention. And so now breathe in together in synchronous aspiration, breathing. You're not having to shift the breath because it's becoming the same. You are breathing the breath of heaven. Breathe down there. The mask of the current life is still loose. Breathe down. Feel the breath of God in your true face. This is where it's going to get enjoyable. Kind of, maybe. Cartron said it was fun, so it must be. It's interesting. We are broadcasting on top of a car named Dynasty. It's like Ricardo Montalban is in the back seat with Abraham Lincoln, watching, and the little midget between them. The plane. The Corinthian leather. All right, so guys, now let's work this, shall we? Now we're going to open the gateway, actually gateways, from up above. There is this is not for you to travel, all right? But this is up there where the spirit guides are. You can go to other lives. And this is where we're going to open up all the gateways of your incarnations, at least all the primary ones. There's other ones where if you were having this life and the mediocrity, we're going to go to the primary lives because that will create a cause and effect, a domino effect in those areas of the timeline. If anybody says that time is an illusion, just have them wait in line at the DMV. And so, this is pretty real. Whoa, it's still waiting. I can get senior benefits now. Okay, guys. Now we're going to just see these gateways open, these God gates, okay? So you got the one here in your life at this place. Now you're going to open up the other ones that go to the past. The future will be just fine because it's going to be a cause and effect, and it's going to be calibrating a different continuum and all that stuff, and these different lines get to come back in. So you're going to have a merging coming in from the futures of the different timelines to where you will have a beautiful merging. And so the different layers of reality, especially the higher ones, will be much more available to you, and they will start merging together, and they just start coming, and it becomes your floor. So if you've had a stuckness and you've been kind of pulled down to this or also held back to the past, well, this is being released right now, isn't it? So we get to clear away the restrictions, the sandbags around your ankles, unless you're like working out in incarnation cycles that aren't necessary. And at the same time, this thing pulls you up. So it's coming in here because we're bringing in the better parts of the continuum, the higher spectrum, where you're all the way from your bodhisattva level self, the somatic state. So it's like from this section here that gets to now come in and really start pulling you up. This is really going to activate the falling towards heaven phase no matter what you do. If everything works right. That's why it's important for you to report to us. Okay, so now as we do this, all of these gateways, these God gates for your different lives, at least the primary ones, were all of these decisions that you did make. Imagine if a cause and effect through the different timelines of the past was, oh, I made this decision here, so this caused this, or this will happen here, this here. All of that where all the primary crossroads are in your past existences is where we have opened the gateways. And you'll have different sets of spirit guides as well. So it's not necessary to try and figure it out because it's a lot of stuff, Bahugi consciousness to try and wrap around. You're dealing with this life quite well. So let's stick with that. And all this will be referenced according to this existence. We're really bringing in a whole university master's course in one show on battery in the land of Zephyr. All right, so now that's why we're making this really simple. Okay, guys, so now what we're going to do is we are going to have this breath in your higher self current life incarnation, and the higher self not being in the incarnation. That's a relative thing too as well, right? So we'll just say the higher self that is above of your incarnation. Breathe in the breath of God and breathe it through all the past lives, and this will be the breath of God going into every past incarnation. Do this now. One breath. And it just goes all at once to every life of a primary crossroads possibility. We could really tweak you guys if we talked about this too much, because then you'd be attempting to figure out, oh, I was this or that person, and how does this work? It's like, just be here in this now. And so as you get into this level of stuff, stay focused in above your current existence, please. We can't have you running around. That would be a mess, and then it would slow down the process that we're doing with you right now. So breathe another breath. We're going to ask the spirit guides to give the wisdom that you have from them in this life. See how we have to be real schizophrenically professional here? Because we have to stay focused on all of your covenants and agreements and everything else. So breathe in this breath from the spirit guide council of this current life up above the God gate. It's all from this self here, right? So you're above your body self that is in this broadcast moment. All right, so now as you breathe this in and breathe that in, you are breathing another breath from the guides, which has the information, the data stream. It's a frequency installment of what they are here to teach you. So kind of replacing your spirit guides in this effect, where you're going to get what they are there to guide you with. And we have to make sure that we don't offset the process. Because if we did it too much, it's like, then we got a mess in the other direction. All right, so breathe that in and breathe it out to every incarnation. Just see those lives, whatever you were, whoever you were, breathe it in, right? And so we are having the angels show up at every life because now they're going to release that. Exhale, and you may not even have to be aware in that time, in that life, that this is going on. You're thinking of a bunch of consciousnesses focusing on what's that? Let's just keep it transdimensionally unapparent. And now this other final breath, we're opening up within your heart, in your body's heart. We then are opening up into your higher self's body's heart, in the crucible of love, in the temple of love, in the heart. Breathe in that fire from within your higher self and your body self. Mingle it together with the breath of God, the breath of heaven. Okay, and breathe it out to all your lives, and that will loosen the masks of the identities. Now, and for those who can see, just tune in and feel this loosening of all this tightness. This really gets rid of the whole village stuckness, doesn't it? If this works right. And so now, breathe out from your lives. Do not become all your lives. That can be confusing, but just see yourself breathing in those lives bodies out, and the mask comes off, and we ask the angels to come through the God gates where those major crossroad existences are and take those masks, and they will be placed upon the altar of your experience. See, these have missing codes, remember? It is those experiences that was the parts that were not there. It was the unanswered part of the prayer for Creator. So this was a way for us to fill in the blanks of the missing prophecy. We're giving you so much information. Okay, so now, as you breathe through those other lives, imagine the breath of God that's going into their lungs and going into their lives. It's creating a cause and effect, right? We're not going up and down so much, but we're going in that timeline in a horizontal, linear way. And so now we're going to ask Apophis, Kali, Shiva, and Lilith to now assist us in releasing all of these things. Remember, you offered yourself last week. The offering of self, boom, give it up. Because what you're doing is making room for more of the Christ, more of the Buddha, more all that good stuff, more of the divine feminine to help balance out the fire of the masculine, because the masculine is now getting its prayer answered by becoming in more peace. We're giving you like maybe 5 different primary broadcasts of information and process here, so we're making it as succinct as possible. So now, how are you guys doing? Yes. And so as you do this, it's going to be a synchronized breathing through many incarnations. Feel like a symphony, right? And as this happens and you merge together, then maybe these other lives help these other lives who where you got stuck and karma was created, or other things. Because next week we're going to do a karmic balance. We're going to be creating, an accountability of a soul level. You guys are very stalwart in your purpose for taking on these journeys, because it's like, this is not for wussies, right? We're really put you into the crucible here, and it may seem like all these other type of broadcasts, but this is something where we're really calling you on your stuff as gently as possible, because you don't need that stuff. You've got other good stuff coming in. So anyway, are you guys okay? Yes. This is the real master's work that was started by the Metatron in the Order of Divine Light in 2015 in Austin and Seattle area and Alaska. It was this process that this other energy wanted to not have happened. But what we are doing is we are doing a continuation of this, because the true mastery is to have everyone become the master of their own existence. And so there's all these forces. Don't want that to happen. Oh God, if a planet of slaves wakes up, or if they get too healthy, they can't promote our disease system, retain its health. We can't manipulate them because they're too awake by the media. They can't believe the news. We can't promote wars. It's like, they're just becoming useless. How dare all of these slaves wake up? It's this whole mentality that we are working on helping to facilitate, because this world is not the one that's going to be sacrificed. It would be the race. Earth would just go, ew, what the heck was that? It's like, that's silly. Ugh, I put up with that. That thing was digging at me. Oh, God, it's like that label in that pants. That's what it was. Oh, it was a race that wasn't doing its job. Isn't that trash? Is pressure modern slang still precious? Lord of the Rings kind of messed that up. Precious. And so, as you guys do this, imagine what you are doing with the collective capacities of what you represented. And we're saying that in past tense. Everything that we express linguistically with words is very, very specific on many dimensional levels. Each thing that you hear, and if you listen to it again, you will hear a different layer and a different layer and a different layer because we pack in all that stuff. Okay, so now we're just going, this basically that was it. Each breath that you breathe for your many lives, and this could be called the breath of many lives system. Maybe we should create one so that we can then get it out to the world. Because if we got people breathing in their other lives, that's going to loosen up a lot of stuff and make your jobs a lot easier. Hmm. And so, how are you guys doing? What an interesting time that you have. Here's what's going to happen. Next week, the Taurian, this is real precious. Okay, so here's the forces that are going on. You've got a liberation energy that's really Black Moon Lilith, push of this thing, and Pluto. It's saying, boom, and let's add Jupiter on that. Okay, then you have also, this is causing you and having this predatory authority over you, telling you what you can't do. You're not supposed to do this. It's going to limit you and control you. But isn't that a crucible of that which seems negative to cause you to get your butt together and become very resourceful? Patrick is learning about campers. And he's like, okay, this is the 3D thing, but it's okay because I'm also working on a multi-billion-dollar project. But at the same time, I have this camper. And it's a camper. And I've got to learn systems like white and gray water. And so it's like, oh, this is how an electrical system works. And so you've got this thing that's causing a very much resourcefulness within that then is causing you to also create a new grounding connection capacities, a lot of earth energy right now that is causing you to have deeper roots. These deeper roots then help you to anchor in because isn't there, if you do this metaphor of these trees, the deeper the root, the stronger the tree, the more it can handle the wind, and the more nutrition it gets from whatever trees get. And so this is the thing that allows you to have that adversity help assist you to become really tweaked and polished and refined. So now you are becoming this finely polished, finely tuned instrument that can handle any kind of crap. At the same time, right? You have as this all of this divine harassment is going on, and it's like an fu. It's like, oh god, this is like beyond silly now. It makes you want to break free, but at the same time you're getting a new level of intimacy and relationship, which is causing you to realize, is this relationship beneficial for me? Is it supporting, or is it trying to judge and control and limit me? All of this review that's going on right now is the full professional schizophrenia package for humanity. And you guys, as light workers, are holding the place for everybody without even trying. You notice how it's a lot easier to be you now, especially those who have caught Trond for a while, to where it's more like an autopilot. Yes, there's a thing called like a boss, and it's where people do things flawlessly. And it's like, yay, I made that shot or whatever video. And so it's like, oh, well, hey, God, you look good. How do you do that? Oh, it's okay. Ta-da! Oh, you make it look so simple. Yeah, that and 13,000 years of lives to practice. You're welcome. And so, this is why you can make very great strides in your possibilities with all this adversity. It's like today, Patrick wound up with 2 bagels and a really great skit about the bagel that was lost. And now it's gone. But it will be remembered. He might write about it for tomorrow's broadcast, which is the Mother's Day broadcast. Here's mommy. And so all of this is leading to you becoming very, very clear, isn't it? If you're not clear and you've got this energy, then it can be very confusing and very intense. And you've got all this stuff going on. Like a lot of these kids running around on Saturday night swooping it up, or I'm going to do drugs or drink or whatever because I got all this energy. I don't know what to do with it. It's just, oh my God, I got it. Pop. It's like that Jack in the Box whose lid is stuck. And remember, Patrick had written this was important, is that people in the third dimensional level, or the thirders and the mental types, who don't know what's going on but feel this energy, we got like, they will kinetically express it. Or it's like, oh yeah, because they got to move the energy and they can't know what it is, and it's driving me crazy. I got to do something. I can't see. Patrick could watch, especially men, in restaurants, and when they were around females, their knee, you ever watch somebody's legs start shaking? And he's like, wait a second, they can't ground in the energy. They're short circuiting. They don't know how to handle that type of energy because they're like this mental masculine. And so he's like, well, this is interesting to observe because as they integrate it, then they don't have to be all like, what do they call that, restless leg syndrome stuff. It does have a dimensional quality to it. And so this crucible of enforcement from this adversity allows you to create grand levels of clarity. And you may not have that yet, but let's just say that you're clearing out the logs from your jam so that your flood may flow. So anyway, that is what's going on. And we want to thank you guys for continuing this. And you know, you are, of course, lifers and getting in for the long haul. But we're going to pop you through. This will not be an forever type of thing. We're getting you ready for what's going to happen, especially if you look at 7 years of intense stuff. The project that is happening could be dealing with the restructuring of Earth's resources, of bringing in accountability and everything from economics to social responsibility to everything else. And so this is what's in the face now. People are being manipulated by their political agents of commercial nature for ends which benefit government and the elite and all of that. You've heard that story forever, actually centuries in the making. But now the people are saying, this doesn't feel right. I don't accept this. This is weird. I don't want this anymore. So if you are being given in your face something that really brings up the fact of something and you becoming aware of what you don't want, isn't that clarity? It's like, wow, that sucks. So that's really clear. It's really clear that sucks. And so now I don't want that anymore. So then the universe says, well, good, finally off the fence on that one. Geez, you guys are like dried cow turds or something. It's like, Billy, come on, guys, move it. And so at the same time, it's like, okay, you're talking about moving the densest compaction of the third dimensional solidification of consciousness. After a while, consciousness does get thick. If you go and live near an ocean in a society, you can literally be in a heavier consciousness, although the ocean and the body of water can get it going. If you go higher and higher, you'll notice that the consciousness is lighter and lighter. Consciousness does have density, literal, physical, energetic density, and it can collect in certain places. And so if you uh, take that times 13,000 years of all of the greatest ineptitude, imagine how heavy that is, right? So imagine lifting stuff. It's like just before a star supernovas and collapse, it turns into a black hole. That stuff weighs like a ton a square inch or a cubic inch or something. It gets so heavy that it collapses and pokes a hole through the other realm of the dimension. And you wind up then having very heavy stuff. It's like try to lift that. So it's that other aspect, which is a collection of cosmic ineptitude, even from the gods themselves for millions of years, that is now on this planet, and the thirders are taking it on. And so it's not like, okay, we're going to wake them up. It's like ripping them apart. They got that density that they may be unawares about, but at the same time, That's what they're dealing with. So we are putting in all this light underneath of that, raising it up. And so it's like basically making that super duper heavy consciousness thick material anti gravitational. This then allows it to be relocated without having to be lifted. Does this make sense? We can communicate about that later. We are complete. You will keep breathing through your past lives, the breath of many lives. In fact, we're going to write that because that is our new system, one of them. This will help really get rid of all of that group karma. And so, if you guys want to hear the system to really get this going, then we can help do this. We got the full breath to soul, and now we have the breath of many lives. Well, we ain't stopping in this moment anywhere, are we? We are now starting to address all of these heavinesses in other incarnations and stuff. And so you guys are doing really great. We want to thank you for being a part of this broadcast in the land of Zephyr for Zephyr. We'll see you guys later. We are complete. And tomorrow there'll be a Mother's Day broadcast. Probably Rebecca will be facilitating that. She gives the energy out, it really helps. So let's hear it from the mother and see what the mother has to give as a gift on her day. We'll see you guys later. Life is good. Everything is on schedule. Have a nice day, guys. Let's see. Where are we? Yay! And have a nice day. Goodbye. Hi, guys. I remember days when we were younger. How are you? We used to cattle in the mountain stream. Round the whole out here. Thank you for attending another Cartron Experience broadcast. I'm ripping off so the mask long ago, of the illusion was a dream that was there that we no longer need. Last night I dreamt I was returning. We want to thank you for joining us. And my heart called out to you here on this beautiful summer night in Florida. But I fear you won't be like I left. We'll be having another broadcast starting tomorrow. Make aloha kumomeu kamalu. And so, Mother's Day tomorrow will be a great thing to start, and we'll do that. And I think we'll do it in the afternoon or the evening, and we're just gonna, see what the mother says. And we want to thank all the beings that really helped us get this going, because this was really cool and intense, wasn't it? And Cartron has never done these things, so this is really neat. I'll see you guys later. Life is good. Okay. So, and so, yes. We'll see you guys. Have a nice day. Um, wow. This was pretty cool. I get to see the movie after Cartron's done. It's like, well, that's interesting. And now he has the breath of many lives. That's neat. I like it. Where you can breathe for your other incarnations. Wow, that's cool. Hey, it was cool, wasn't it? Here in this empty parking lot because we didn't have time to go to the other place. The signal was good. We're on top of a hill. It's actually one of the highest places in Florida. It's about 70 feet. So it's like, it take the tsunami a lot. It's like, oh, I can't make it up the hill. Oh my God, they're safe. I'll see you later. Life is good. Bye.